So I would say that one of the main messages that Epictetus is sending us is that he's recommending that we live rationally. What does that mean? To be reasonable, to be rational, and that is a difficult thing to define, but to a certain extent, he defines it for us. For instance, look at section 4. When you are going about any action, remind yourself what nature the action is. If you're going to bathe, and remember, at his time in the Roman world, uh, there were public baths. You went to the baths and you shared them with other people. If you're going to bathe, picture to yourself the things which usually happen in the bath. Some people splash the water, some push, some use abusive language, and others steal. Then you will more safely go about this action. If you say to yourself, I will now go bathe and keep my mind in a state conformable to nature. And in the same manner with regard to every other action. For thus, if any hindrance arises in bathing, you will have it ready to say, it was not only to bathe that I desired, but to keep my mind in a state conformable to nature, and I will not keep it if I am bothered at things that happen. So in the Roman world, if you wanted to go to the baths, you go take a bath. But remember what happens at the baths. People are rude sometimes and annoying. So if you go to the baths and people are rude and annoying, well, you knew that going in, right? You knew that. I think in my own life, observing people, you can learn a lot by how they act in certain typical situations, especially like things like driving. Um, I don't think my father ever used the horn growing. I don't think I remember him once using the horn or once getting angry at another driver because he was to a certain degree a stoic. Well, you're going to drive. You're going to drive to work or drive to the grocery store or drive down the shore or whatever it is. And what happens when you drive? Well, I mean, sometimes there's really heavy traffic and you just have to sit there. And sometimes other drivers are really rude and cut you off or beep at you or don't obey traffic signals. And you should, be wary of them. But you know that going in, that when you drive on a public road, there are other drivers, and some of them are bad drivers or rude drivers or reckless drivers. So you knew that going in. So if something happens, if they are rude or reckless or something, there's really you, to get upset about it makes no sense whatsoever. You've given over your state of mind to that person in a way uh, when you should be concentrating on controlling your own responses to things. So I think that there's something very interesting going on here with Epictetus, and very sort of simple and common sense. Well, I mean, you're going to do this. Later on, he says, well, you say you want to be an Olympic athlete. That's great. Go ahead and do it. But just remember what's likely to happen. And what's likely to happen is that you're going to lose. You might win, and that would be great, but you're probably going to lose, or you're probably not even going to make it to the Olympic Games. What's probably going to happen is that you'll work really hard and you'll make all sorts of sacrifices. And when it comes to it, you either won't make the team, or if you do, you'll lose. Okay. I always thought that the best ticket of any event that you could get and attend is the finals of the women's figure skating in the Olympics. It was always guaranteed to be dramatic, right? Because you have this basically a girl, like a 13-year-old girl, 14-year-old girl who's made tremendous sacrifices and worked incredibly hard to be such a great figure skater. And she's up there and she's probably going to fall. It's just incredibly dramatic. Uh, so it's hard to ask of a child to be a stoic, but just think about it. This most likely thing, you're going to make all these sacrifices. You're not going to go to a regular school or get up. You have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get ice time and basically sacrifice your childhood. If you want to do it, go ahead, but just remember what's likely to happen. So maybe you'll win, but you probably won't. And so if you don't, and you fall, or some other girl skates better than you, or the judges are wrong, which happens too, those are things that you knew about going in. So if they do happen, don't let them disturb you. You knew the score when you got in. So this is really a global. What I mean is, by global, it applies everywhere in life. You saved up all summer or you saved up all year to rent a house at the seashore, down the shore for a week in the summer. You made sacrifices. It's not cheap. And you go down there with your family and you're ready to have a good time, and it rains all week. Well, you knew you going in, you couldn't control the weather, right? You knew going in that that was a possibility. So you have options. You can eat your heart out or complain about it and feel sad, or you can control yourself, knowing, I knew this going in, that it might rain all week. I don't have control of the weather. So if it happens, I will not be disturbed. I knew the score going in. It is an approach to life that Epictetus is recommending, which, again, all he's saying is be rational. And to be rational is, well, I know that X is the case. And if X is the case, then sometimes Y happens. So if Y does happen, why are you letting yourself get upset about it? Right? You knew going in that Y was possible. And the important thing is not that it's sunny weather or that you win the gold medal or whatever else. The important thing is that you, as he says, you keep your inner state conformable to nature, which is basically calm and peace.